That's the situation then into the final 9 of the Turespaña Open Canarias. Ballesteros leads by 2 from Eels and Sandelin. Forsbrand now at 3 under, been joined by Clark, having just put that birdie in on 13. And Gary Emerson still going well, 3 under after 12. Emerson dropped shots at the 9th and 10th, but has had a couple of pars on the last 2 holes.
And today you can see the 14th is a wide open driving area, but the pin's tucked on the right. It's important to hit the fairway. What a great try there from about 50-60 yards for Forsbrand. Can escape with a par. But with the pin in the middle, it's not important where you hit off the 14th tee. But today you could see the danger if you go too far right. And Forsbrand still around, even though he's had some disasters. Was very sick yesterday.
Oscar Sanchez, the only amateur in the field, had a pretty horrible round today. He was 2 over at the start of the day, but with an 80. In fact, he recovered a bit at the end of that as well. Out in 44.
What a big break there. Looked as if it had a chance. Cut right across the front of the hole.
And who works with a sports psychologist. And he's got a very, very even temperament. In fact, he's got his whole life sorted out extremely well. 31-year-old, very mature individual, and it is his ambition to be in amongst the top players in 3 or 4 years' time, regularly amongst the top players on the European Tour. Indeed, it's his big ambition to win the Open Championship next year at his home course at Royal Lytham and St Anne's.
Forsbrand to try and save par. Generally known for his good tee to green game, strong hitter. That was confidently holed, no problem at all. Firmly struck, the green couldn't grab it, and a good save. Coughing away, must still be sick. Looks as if he should be in bed somewhere.
Paul Curry hasn't been able to make a move really today.
This is left of the green at 16. The out of bounds is only about 15 yards away from today's pin placement. Back left, much, much easier than yesterday's pin placement up on that tier. Sven Struver's had a good solid round. Birdied the 10th to get to 2 under and has parred the rest of the way. Will be the leader in the clubhouse. It's definitely the leader in the clubhouse now. Paolo Corici already in at 1 under par, so Sven will take over that mantle in a few minutes.
Paul Curry started the day at 1 under. Man who won the Jersey Open last year, his first tour win.
Co-holder of the lowest round on the European Tour. 7 players have shot 60. Paul Curry is one of them. 62 and a 63 in his win in Jersey last year. So, as I said earlier, a streak player once he gets going. Not this week, but a good putt. Eels tee shot on 15. Looks as if he's going with a fairway wood, laying up just short of the first of 2 fairway bunkers on the right side. And perfectly positioned, that's exactly where he was trying to put it. Many players using a driver and giving themselves just sand wedge approach shots, but Paul, not one of the longer hitters, and playing conservatively there.
The leader by 2. Second shot to the 12th.
So important to hit this fairway. Trouble bushes and trees both sides. Back right, and it must have looked good from the fairway. Now he probably can't see that ball. A little downslope at the back. He's lucky it didn't bounce on a bit more, but another decision to be made. Will he chip it from the fringe, or will he putt it? And after that bad bounce back at 8, maybe he'll give this a chip.
Gary Emerson with his second on 14.
Now they're 2 holes ahead of the Ballesteros Sandelin group. We haven't seen the officials out there yet, but no doubt they are.
And Emerson must be delighted really with the way he's kept it going. Much better than he did in Madeira last week when he had a 78 in the final round.
See if Darren can hit another one close. Well, in some ways lucky to take that much of a bounce onto the green. Not as close as the previous hole, but another birdie chance. See if he can start making some of these 10-footers.
Gary Orr's slipped back with bogeys at 11 and 12, having got to 4 under at one stage, and he's had another bogey at 14. Slipping right out of contention.
Strikes me Gary might be stuck a little bit between playing his natural game and trying to force some technical moves in there. Seems a little confused at times, but that's on the green safely. And the 16th playing considerably easier today than it has done the first 3 rounds.
So many of these players, Peter, now are getting into the technical swings, aren't they, with their gurus? They're going into the almost taking the swings apart and going into it by bits.
I think it can be overdone. They can think just technique and forget about the shot they're trying to create, and that's the trick, to have a balance between technique and relying on your natural ability, natural feel, blend it all together, and then you've really got something. Struve for an eagle, a beautiful second shot. It's a nasty looking target from the fairway area. There's a mound in front of the green, just to the top left of the screen. It's only 20 yards deep. It runs away at the back into a bunker and also into some rough. So a super second shot, carrying on the green and stopping. Well, it looked as if he played much too much break, but he knew what he was doing. That's going to be a tap in to go to 3 under par for the tournament, and a 70 today. Now, Sandelin, this is over the green at number 12. And what a great shot that is. What a great shot. A restricted backswing, and have scraped it up there, could judge the distance. Great shot.
Seve is using the putter. And it bobbles again. Bobbles horribly.
But this time he started a bit closer to the green, so come up short, but not as badly as the 8th hole. Seve, very determined. Emerson made his par 4 at 14th, missed that 20-foot birdie putt. And we go on to Paul Eels. A perfect layup, exactly what he was trying to do. 125 to the pin from here. And looking at the lie, something happened there on the green, but miles away. I thought the pin was going to be tucked behind that bunker again today to really reward the players who hit the fairway, but it's back right and a dangerous spot. You don't want to go over that 15th green. We go back to 12th. Seve hit his second shot, just a wedge right over the pin into the back fringe and putted up, bounced it up to here. Well hold. He's got all the shots. Other things can go wrong, but somehow the putting still seems to be something he can rely on. Forsbrand, he was to the right of the fairway on 14, now he's to the left of the fairway on 15. But a nice lie over there, not as sandy as the previous hole, and nips it nicely, and a birdie chance.
Sandelin having played that lovely shot from off the green and in amongst the trees, and rescues a par to stay at 4 under.
Well, if he's in there at the end, that was a critical up and down. Now can Darren Clark birdie the rest of the way? Oh, it bumped right away. Keep going. It bumped right off the blade. Never going to get there. And he has missed a lot of chances, but playing well. Haven't seen too many wild shots from him. I think it's going to be another good year, more like 1993 when he finished in the top 10 on the Volvo Tour and had his lone win on the tour in Belgium. Paul Eales, long range at 15.
Oh.
And that was a poor second shot. And will have to take his time to make par. Back to the 15th tee. Darren's been using a driver here, leaving himself just a sand wedge. The line from the tee to where he's trying to land his ball, across some bushes. And he pushed that a bit, but got away with it. Carried the first of the 2 fairway bunkers on the right, and stayed short of the second one. But not very far to go, no more than a sand wedge from there. And this one will be close, I'm sure.
And as Forsbrand studying this 15-foot birdie attempt, and he really has got to start knocking 1 or 2 of these in. He needs to make a move at this stage if he's to win the tournament. Probably nearer 20 feet.
Now this is a little left to right. I think Seve is generally more comfortable on right to left driving holes, but he does have his long game under more control than he used to, although maybe not on that one. He might have caught the fairway bunker on the right side. Didn't see it bounce. There's a fairway bunker over there. Paul Eales hit the face coming out of that yesterday. So we'll see if Seve has a good lie. He may just have to hit a sand wedge out of there.
Eales has been very solid from this distance. Stays at 4 under, 2 behind the leader, Seve Ballesteros, who may be in trouble on the 13th. Sandelin still going well at 4 under. Struve in the clubhouse, the leader in the clubhouse at 3 under. Forsbrand missing a chance to go to 4 under, still 3 off the lead, as are Clark and Emerson. Carlo Corici has had a 68 today, one of only 2 68s to be 1 under in the clubhouse. Anders Forsbrand, a birdie chance missed on 15. On the longish par 3 16th, 211 yards.
He hit the advertising board about 50 yards short of the green here yesterday and made a bogey. But that's better.
Same shot for Paul Eales.
Probably a good solid 3-iron for Paul. Didn't like it, left it to the right. 205 yards today. Don't get up on top. Makes things much more difficult if he gets up on top. And that was on tape. Now we have Seve in the fairway bunker at 13, and he's going to be too close to the lip to hit to the green from there, I predict. I hope I'm wrong, but I think the rest of the competition would like Seve to try and go for the green from there, because he might still be in the bunker.
Got a pretty lofted clumb by the look of it.
I think he's so close that there's really no question that he has to lay out. Watching it anxiously. Short of the other bunkers, 40, 50 yards short of the green. So we need some magic to save a par here. He's been under par every round so far on the back nine. Not yet under par today.
Gary Emerson's second shot to 15. This looks tasty.
Lovely shot. Looks as if the wind might have died down. It's quite strong. Around midday, 1 o'clock.
Sandelin just failing to hold the green, and certainly there is a change in the weather. There's a lot of cloud around now.
That was right over the pin with his second shot. Still playing aggressively. With a birdie putt from the fringe for Sandelin. And dramatic scenery here as well as fantastic weather. And this is as much cloud as we've seen all week. It's no wonder so many people come here, get away from the cold northern European winter. I don't know how Darren was quite that far away. He had probably less than 90 yards to the pin after that long drive. And just a horrible approach. I thought he'd hit that one close. Have to settle for a par. But Gary Emerson has a good birdie chance. Gary Orr must have made that putt across the 16th green for a birdie to get back to even par. Excuse me. Must have bogeyed the 16th to get to even par. He was 1 under after bogeying 14. But Orr has a chance there at 17. Now Seve. There's different ways to make pars. And that's all he wants. He doesn't care whether he hit it 10 feet away and 2-putted. He just wants a 4 on the scorecard.
Well, the crowd like it, but I don't think Seve will. Left himself with plenty to do. Eales having just managed to stay on the lower level, but still with a very long putt.
A little bit of grain helping him at the end. Look at it run out. Keep going.
And that lovely tee shot from Anders Forsbrand giving him a chance of birdie, but The chances are running out. We can give him that one for par to stay at 3 under, or this one for birdie on 17. Stay at level par. Darren Clark got his par on the 15th to stay at 3 under. 3 behind the leader, Seve Ballesteros. Eels and Sandelin, the men closest to him. Struve in the clubhouse at 3 under. Clark, Emerson on 3 under along with Forsbrand. And Koichi with the lowest round of the day, a 68, along with John Henry, also had a 68. Ballesteros then with more than he would like to save his par at 13 and keep his 2-shot lead. That's a putt of 15 feet or so.
Such a good, solid, aggressive stroke. Could well have gone in. That wayward drive certainly costing Seve. Unlucky not to be in the middle of the bunker and have a shot at the green. Birdied this hole 3 previous times. Mere 5 under. He was 8 under during his second round and has been unconvincing since then.
Playing partner Sandelin with this attempt for birdie. That was also off tape. Very comfortable tap in to stay at 4 under and 1 behind Seve with Forsbrand driving on 17.
Driving with an iron, surprisingly, but looking for good position because the pin placement is tucked to the right, and anything on the right side of the fairway you still can't see the bottom of the pin. Left side is preferable. Forsbrand, a very long hitter. There, from the right side, that bunker and the ridge alongside it. 205 yards, pretty hefty divot for what was probably a 4-iron. Straight at it, a little short. Must have looked good for Darren. 2 full holes behind the last group, Seve and Jarmo. Wide open tee shot, but important today to hit down the left side. Makes it much easier.
because it's going to be a long wait in the clubhouse for the men ahead of them to know whether they've got to go into a playoff or not.
Just a little bounce to the right there, and good position for today's pin placement. Jarmo's already blasted away, probably with his extra long driver, 50 inches. Gary Emerson, let's see, good solid swing. Great, but not bad. This was a tough hole. This would test somebody who hasn't experienced this kind of situation before, and that really wasn't a bad result. And the crowds that were certainly behind Seve, all behind Seve when they teed off, perhaps warming to Sandelin, who has enjoyed some of those birdie putts. And I'm sure they enjoy his slashing away with his long driver. And here we have the former winners of the Canaries Open. Jose Maria Olazabal winning it twice. There was no tournament played in 1991. And the first five events all played in Tenerife, one of the other islands. And we're the first time on Gran Canaria in 1995.
Just one shot separates the rest of the field now then from Seve Ballesteros. Eels and Sandelin at 4 under, Struve, Forsbrand, Clark and Emerson all at 3 under. For 2 days, Seve Ballesteros reigned supreme here at Maspalomas, but down the closing stretch it's looking all a little bit uncomfortable for him.
Sandelin out there 15 yards ahead of Seve and smack in the middle of the fairway, putting the pressure on, driving first, but Seve was able to respond. Good crisp lies on these Bermuda fairways. Working on that shoulder turn rather than the sway off the ball that he's had for years. Mac really got that ingrained into Seve's mind in the spring of '94. Nice tight turn on the way back. Early wrist cock. And a bogey at 13 and an immediate response from a great player.
Paul Eels' second shot to the 17th, 374 yards. Looks good for line. Not bad for length either.
No, good shot. You could see it was quite uninviting. Here's Sandelin, a monster drive. Has to be one of his 4 wedges. And he's not giving up. He's just naturally aggressive and doesn't know any other way to play, I don't think.
He had, he dropped 3 shots in the first 4 holes, maybe a little bit nervous at the start, but he certainly got through that. And with a run of 3 birdies from 6th to the 8th. And he's clearly enjoying it now. 27-year-old, turned pro in 1987, hasn't got a Sony World ranking. No wins and doesn't feature on the Volvo Order of Merit.
So that's no money this year, but a win last year on the Challenge Tour. Secondary tour here in Europe. Gary Orr, third shot on 18. We've seen a lot of people in this bunker left side on 18, going for the green in 2. This is not a bad spot. Spin. Didn't get the spin he expected. And the nasty distance, especially with a bit of money on the line.
He's dropped 4 shots in the last 6 holes, though.
Not particularly good shot from Gary from the left fringe. It wasn't a bad tee shot. Probably tried to putt it, got a nasty bounce, come up short, made a bogey. That's a pity. It wasn't that bad a tee shot. Up ahead to the 17th. Anders, an iron off the tee, well positioned, but misjudged the second shot. Uphill, but with the grain, and look at that. He's going to be off the green, almost. The grain definitely a factor there. It's uphill, but it's still quite fast. Now, can Jarmo put a bit more pressure on? Pressure off the tee shot. Wasn't phased too much by Seve's super approach. Now we're in a match play situation we've referred to a couple of hours ago. He had 26 putts yesterday in his 66. Made lots of this range for birdies. No problem at all. And he's still acting up to the gallery. I don't think Seve appreciates that. And a good mechanical stroke. Grew up, started on putt-putt. And you certainly have to ingrain your stroke to be successful at that little game. And can Seve make this one?
Suddenly looks a whole lot longer than it did a few minutes ago, I'm sure.
It was a great situation, great match play situation. Jarmo had the chance to put some pressure on, and he certainly took it. And as long as he's hitting it, if he can hit a good one on 18, he'll have a huge advantage over Seve, hitting into that tight pin placement on the 18th. So not often you say somebody has a advantage with distance off the tee over Seve, but it might be the case today.
Especially if Seve repeats his shot of yesterday down 18, straying way down the right. Oh, he's very well.
What a stroke! What a stroke! Perfect takeaway, perfect rhythm. Swung the putter straight through on the line he wanted to start the ball, and right in the middle. Great.
For one brief shining moment, Sandelin was co-leader, but it didn't last long. Ballesteros leading again by 1.
All the eels. Gary Orr also misjudged it. Tricky pin placement. Back right on 17. Looks as if it's straight up the hill, but it turns to the left. And a second putt from Forsbrand. I don't know what he did in the first one. Well done.
Great save by Forsbrand at 17 to stay at 3 under. 3 behind the leader, Seve Ballesteros, who has just kept 1 stroke ahead of Sandelin with those 2 birdies on 14. Eels 1 behind at 4 under after 17. Struve in the clubhouse 3 under. Forsbrand and Clark 3 under out on the course. So it's all getting pretty interesting on the 15th tee for Seve Ballesteros at 6 under. He's had 2 pars in the last 2 holes, or last 2 rounds here, having birdied it in the first round.
And choosing to go with an iron, and he's left that to the right. He used to, oh, come down. That is awful. Playing safe with an iron. He's used a driver the other rounds, just sand wedges into this green, and that's a chip out sideways. Not even Seve can handle that one. Now Jarmo's got a chance. A big slash with his driver, a little 60-yard pitch, and he'll have a birdie chance. And that was horrid. Let's see where Jarmo's hit his drive. There, the dogleg to the left. With a driver, you have to go over the clump of bushes and come up just short of that second fairway bunker on the right. Holes played a little over par this week. It's not that long. The wind's been against, and players a little confused over what to hit off the tee. If they lay up too far back, then it's a tricky approach shot. A little higher average score for the week than I would have expected. Here's Jarmo Sandelin's ball. Looks as if he's launched it off the tee. He has gone past the second fairway bunker, which is about 280 from the tee. He's hit it about 310. He's got a short pitch into the green, maybe from the rough, but it's not a very long shot. Meanwhile, Seve will be hoping that he's even playable in the bushes.
Do you think Seve saw that drive and thought maybe he was in trouble? That's why he was taking the iron?
It's possible, because he wouldn't have been able to see where it finished. Went over the bushes, but I think Seve should have been able to judge that ball wasn't in deep trouble, wasn't in bushes and wasn't out of bounds. I think Seve's saying he's, to himself, he's one in front, and he wasn't going to be wild with any club. He was going to make a safe par, still with a chance of a birdie if he lays up properly. And it's backfired on him. I think that's from directly behind the ball, pointing towards the hole, and he's going to have to chip out sideways.
Well, Seve's already well behind. This last pair a long way behind the rest of the field, and they're going to be a bit further because Seve's not going to hurry here, I can guarantee it. In fact, he's going to find some way of getting a lift here, a free drop if he possibly can.
It's going to be difficult. David Garland, the tournament director this week, one of a team of officials, right on the spot. Seve better not do too much. Yeah, he's going to have to come outside, there's no question. Now stones, if they're loose, he can move them. If they're firmly embedded, he cannot. And now Paul Eales, nice drive down 18. He's lacking a little length. Let's see what he can do today. Came up short yesterday with 2 woods. Or 2 metals, I guess. Wind helping a bit. That's a wonderful shot. Only 4 eagles here so far this week. Paul had one of them. That was in the first round, and in great position for another. Eales holds that putt to go to 6 under. Seve 6 under, chipping out sideways. A lot can happen. And the 16th hole par 3 is no bargain for Seve either. And let's not forget Sandelin, who's just got a short pitch shot into the screen. I think Seve, during interviews yesterday, said, well, the outcome of the event depends on me a bit. I think more than a bit. Everything depended on how Seve played today. If he got going in free flow as he was the first round and a half. And it could have been over after 9 holes, but he hasn't. And it's far from over. He needs to get this back to the fairway so he can control the shot. Well done. Might have chinked the club a bit. Same clubs he was using last year.
Seve not the only man who's had to play out of the trees this week, although he didn't have to play out of the branches, as Peter Mitchell did in the second round. On the par 5 fourth, he was looking to get on in 2, got held up in the branches. Despite taking a 3-wood, didn't make too much impression on it.
This is Forsbrand. Horrible hook off the tee here yesterday. This is a great drive, just a medium iron, 484, slightly downwind. Probably as little as a 6 iron. That's Eel's ball there. Probably in the bunker just under the lip, but not particularly difficult shot. He can just lob it out from there, hitting into the slope.
Okay, B, tell me exactly the right yardage here.
So he's further back than if he'd hit a good layup. So he could have as much as 150 yards, maybe even more. Pins back right. It doesn't look as if there's any room at all behind the pin. And it's straight downhill if you go too far. I don't expect this to go past the pin. Although he's coming under pressure here. He's actually, I would say, behind at this moment. If you compare his position with Sandelin's, he is behind as far as advantage is concerned.
Nice ball.
Pretty good from that far back. In trouble again, bogeyed the 16th. Must have been in trouble off the tee at 17. Coming up, he can recover. For a par. Forsbrand so close to the pin on 18. He's got a good lie, this shouldn't be a problem. These players looking to hit this within a couple of feet. It's a little harder underneath the ball than he expects. Now this is interesting. I wonder if he has 2 sand wedges. If he has 2 sand wedges, one of them maybe has a flange with quite a lot of bounce on it, another one perhaps with no bounce, and he's judging the sand to be firm. He might be using what is usually a pitching club. Not bad. Wanted a club that didn't bounce too much. That's what the problem was. And a little further away than he should be from that range.
Well, Seve's on the green at 15, but he's got a long putt to save par. Sandelin came up short after that monster drive, which he'll be cross with himself about.
Unless he had a horrible lie over there, he was in good position with carrying 4 wedges. One of them had to suit the distance. He would look to be maybe 60 yards away. 60-degree wedge would have been perfect, but a bad lie. And this is the result. I'm guessing a bad lie rather than misjudgment. That was well played. That was well played. How about that? It was well played all the way. Nice rhythm, aggressive strike of the ball. Sandelin has gone to 6 under. Seve has to make his putt to stay in a tie. And Paul Eales is on the 18th with a putt from the fringe there. Look at this again, stayed down nicely, nice rhythm. It's online all the way. The green is very difficult on this green. You can see it jerking up to the hole. And he made it.
Bit like Joachim Hegman, Sandelin is not typical in his reaction, typical of his native country. A lot of the Swedes tend to be very poker-faced. Sandelin's enjoying every minute of it.
And from the mini leaderboard, Paul Eales birdied 18 and made his move to 5 under par. Didn't make his second eagle over there. Now this is to stay tied for the lead. He was out in front, 8 under par, midway through his second round. He was tied a few times during yesterday's round, but never headed. Jarmo Sandelin takes the lead. Let's see how he can handle the pressure. The 16th is not an easy hole. For your first hole after taking over the lead from a legendary player in European golf, if not worldwide golf.
I wonder what's going through his mind there. Few thoughts, I would think. 2-shot swing, assuming this goes in. And suddenly he'll be thinking all sorts of extraordinary thoughts. And he really does have to keep those out of his mind. He's got to think about playing the 16th, playing the 17th, and playing the 18th, and nothing else.
He just needs to think about his tee shot at 16th, actually.
I mean, as he plays them, yes, not
one shot at a time. It's a cliche, but certainly one shot at a time. And Paul Eales, after a lovely second shot at 18, it's his eagle. Try, makes a birdie, 5 under par, and it's been a good solid week.
Round of 71 for Paul Eales. Out in 36, back in 35. And he'll be pretty happy with his week's work. I think he probably felt he just needed that eagle to go in to give himself a chance of victory, or at least getting into a playoff. Out in 35, back in 36, and a round of 71 for Anders Forsbrand is in there at 4 under.
Now it's Jarmo being distracted. 190 yards to the front, 205 to the pin, out of bounds way over to the left, quite a bit of green to the right, and a bunker almost directly behind the pin. Well, I'm not sure about that. Looked a mini Gary Player. Hang on. Gary Player used to walk on through, and it's worked for Jarmo. I thought that was headed towards the fence, but on the green. That's a good start, always. In a match play situation, hit the green at a par 3.
Is there just a little bit of tension in that face?
Well, it's hardly surprising. It's the first time we've seen that walkthrough. I think he felt he was going to hook it and tried to save things at the last minute, and he managed to do it. This was one of Seve's wild shots coming in yesterday, although it was a very, very difficult pin placement yesterday. Seve missed the green to the right, even to the right of the bunker, and made a lovely up and down. But significantly easier pin placement. Seve deciding to play 207 yards instead of 205. Maybe just a little bit between clubs. Be surprised if he can get there with a 4-iron. This may well be a 3. The greens have been holding pretty well. And this group is so far behind. 2.5 holes now. Clark and Emerson way up ahead. They've finished 17. Seve likes it. A little to the right. Come on back. It's difficult to force the issue on a hole like this. Get it on the green and don't make another mistake. And plenty of room for the rookie to make an error on 17 and 18. Having stepped away, regrouped. Quite a tall man. He's crossed over at the top a little bit. Club pointing to the right of the target. Now he loops it back down, and now I think he feels he's over the top, going to hook it. And tries to stretch out that extension. And loses his balance. You'd expect that when he's hitting his 50-degree driver, but not with a 4-iron or a 3-iron.
Gary Emerson with his second shot to the par 5 18th. Downwind, gettable very definitely in 2 today, as we've seen. And he really could do with an eagle. Well, it's going to have to be a very long eagle putt. Still a good payday for Gary Emerson if he can get down in 2 from there. Don't imagine he'll be thinking quite yet of luxury yachts with a club to run back in the south of England near Bournemouth. But he's going to be winning around, well, maybe might pick up 7, 8, 10,000 pounds depending on how he finishes. 41,000 pounds or $60,000 to the winner. Darren Clark will be going straight at it. Hang on, if he misses to the left, it's very dangerous over there. And he's lucky. Would have gone into an area determined to be an obstruction, but he's fairly close to the green. For the first time in a long time, we have a new leader, Jarmo Sandelin by 1 from Paul Eels and Seve Ballesteros. Final hole for Gary Emerson of the Turespaña Open Canarias with this very long eagle putt.
Made a putt about that length for his par at the last hole, having missed a short one at 16. On the 16th green. With the grain helping, this might be a bit faster than he expects. And well judged, beautiful distance. Love to know what he's thinking. Whether he's saying, I can't believe I'm leading Seve by one shot in this tournament.
Well, when we were hypothesizing this morning, Peter, and saying if it did get down to a match play situation, there's none finer than Seve. Oh.
Five-time winner of the World Match Play Championship, although last fall he was beaten by Ernie Els.
In one of the great matches, wasn't it? My goodness me, what a game.
But Ernie had, Seve had 7 birdie twos out of the 8 par threes played during that match, which I think has never been done before, ever. I think Ernie had 5 himself and went on to win on the 35th hole.
And Ernie's record on the 3rd at Wentworth, which is a monster hole. He had he put his second shot in the morning and then hit the pin in the afternoon. But Seve needs this one.
Just a little firm, plenty of turn at the end, but too firm.
You stand still, please.
Haven't seen any official action from the European Tour officials. As I say, the guideline for twosomes is 3 hours and 18 minutes. Well, that went by, finishing their round, that is. That went by about 15 minutes ago. So I guess their only justification for being this far behind is that the gallery's been a problem. Stroke for his par. Jarmo tapped in. Darren Clark was in trouble in the gallery to the left of the green, chipped too far, missed his birdie try, now has that for a par, and that's disappointing after a lovely drive. Emerson has this for a birdie.
Share probably a 5th place as it stands at the moment. Nice way to finish.
Showed a lot of character, missing that putt at 16, taking 3 from the fringe for a bogey, and then making a good par putt at 17, and a good solid 2-putt all the way across 18. It's as if Jarmo's got the 50-inch job out on the 17th. And he lost his balance again. No wonder the gallery have warmed him, and he's launched it. He's cut the corner. He may not be in the right side of the fairway, but he is on the fairway. And just a short on one of his wedges from there, and he's smiling again. That 16th hole was a bit nervous. That's not an easy hole, 3rd most difficult during the week. And keeps the pressure on, hits the green at the 16th, hits the fairway off the 17th, and he's not giving anything away so far, but a tight pin placement at 17, just those few feet behind it. We saw Seve playing safe off the 15th when he was protecting the lead. Jarmo in the lead gives it everything. Can't teach these youngsters anything, can you? They're supposed to be playing cautiously when they're in the lead.
He obviously learned from when Seve was a young man. He'd have done exactly the same thing, wouldn't he?
Absolutely right. And Seve looks as if he has his 3-wood. Stepping away. hit the fairway, so he can attack the pin. Right rough would be the worst place to be. Left rough, he'd have a chance to run it up the green a bit. But left side of the fairway, he can see the full length of the green and not have to go over the bunker or the ridge. Looks to be up the left side, stay on the fairway, and that's well positioned. And a good balanced swing from Seve there. He'll be playing first, trying to do a Ben Hogan, put the pressure on, hit your second shot close before your opponent can. But Sandelin so much closer, just with a wedge.
So this is Darren Clark with his par putt, nicely done, sir. He'll stay at 3 under for the tournament. Round of 73 today. Back in 35, having gone out in 38. That was really where his problems were. Just never got it going today. But Sandelin, the man who's leading by 1 from Paul Eales in the clubhouse. Seve Ballesteros, of course, still out there with Sandelin. Forsbrand on his own in 4th place at 4 under. Struve had a very good round today. Clark and Emerson all together 5th equal at 3 under. And Paolo Carici at 1 under, having shot a 68 today, starting in 37th place, come up to 8th. What a good day for him. So Seve Ballesteros has plenty to think about over the last 2 holes here of the Turespaña Open Canarias. And he will be taking all his time. An absolute past master of the mental side of a tight match like this, and he'll do everything he can to make sure that any advantages are going his way and not the way of his playing partner.
I think he wants the vacation of buses stopped on the nearby highway. Anyway, you can see he's got a good line into the green, the pin just to the left of that bunker. He can see the bottom of the flag, he can see all the green he has to work with. It's about, probably hit this 250 yards off the tee, maybe 110 to the front. The pin, another 20 back. So 130, good crisp 9-iron. Maybe just a very smooth one. The wind, what there is, would be helping left to right. Certainly not as much wind as earlier in the day. Rehearsing that lovely shoulder turn. And he certainly is taking his time. Rehearse that shoulder turn. Now, when he gets over the ball, I think he'll be just thinking, nice little 9-iron, a couple of feet away. Trying to imagine the shot.
And all this time, Sandelin will be getting more and more anxious, saying, come on, let me play my shot.
I'm sure he's already got whichever wedge he's going to use, got it in his hand, and you're absolutely right. Solid shot. Fractionally left, perhaps. And that's nothing like as close as Seve expected from there. The wind changed, I think. I think that's the consensus between Seve and Billy Foster. Now Sandelin. It's a big swing with one of his lofted wedges. And he's inside Seve. That's a good start.
And there's no shortage of support for him there either. You would think there might be plenty of Spaniards here cheering on Seve, but there are plenty of other nationalities here on holiday as well, and there's a good few of them watching.
Well, he's been enjoyable to watch. He was probably in trouble early in the round because he was too aggressive, going with a fairway wood off the tee at number 2 and then trying to be too aggressive out of a fairway bunker on 4. But he's made 3 birdies in a row on the front 9. This is on the 15th. He had a monster drive in the rough, came to here for 2, and all the way, never a doubt. Never a doubt, and that's why the gallery's behind him. He's enjoying it.
And Seve, of course, bogeyed for a 2-shot swing. Some of us will be flying out of here in the next 12 hours or 24 hours or so. Some may be going in more gentle means of transport. But there's a whole bunch of them still waiting in the clubhouse to know what's going to happen here. Still a possibility of a playoff, of course.
Yes, Paul Eales will have had the opportunity to hit some balls on the range. So many times you hear after a playoff, one of the players was half-packed, ready to go to the airport, or sat around and got stiff in the locker room. It's a tricky situation. It's going to be another maybe 20 minutes before Paul Eales knows whether he's going to be in a playoff. Maybe he's hitting a few putts, a few chips, a few short irons on the range just to keep loose, keep his rhythm. But he needs to be using that time constructively.
Paul Eales, of course, the leader in the clubhouse at 5 under, tied at the moment with Seve. Eales is out here with his wife Anne, and I'm quite sure that she'll be there with him, just mopping his brow and making sure he's staying cool.
I should say that Sandelin, an uphill birdie putt at 17 and a par 5 to come, he has to make a glaring error to slip back to 5 under, but you never know. You've seen balls stuck up palm trees. We saw Seve close to the out of bounds on 18 yesterday. There's trouble around the 18th green, bunkers and bushes.
What do you think, Billy?
And this is the one that Forsbrand ran quite a way by. It's uphill, but the grain mostly helping.
Seve seeking Billy's advice on the line. There was a time when things were going horribly wrong for him that he invited Billy to do his putting for him. In fact, Billy on the practice ground this morning with that putter was knocking them in from all over the place.
Could have gone in so easily. We saw Gary Orr and Paul Eales have putts duck away to the left as they came up that hill, and look where it finished, right behind the hole. Seve's really putted beautifully today. Now he needs to step aside. Let's see what Jarmo can do. After some of the other things he's come up with, I wouldn't be surprised if he jams his birdie putt in. Here's Seve's ball. It's on a good line. It should be turning to the left. It does a little bit, and there it looks as if it's in. And all of a sudden, no.
And what a difference that makes as well, Peter. Now Sandelin knows he's still got the buffer, and if he can knock this in, then he's virtually got it in the bag.
He's forcing Seve to make eagle at the last if he makes this. Good stroke. It wasn't a bad stroke under the circumstances. You could have forgiven him making some kind of nervous stroke, but certainly not. And what a great finishing hole. Short par 5.
So it all depends on the last in the Turespaña Open Canarias. Sandelin leading by 1 from Eels and Ballesteros.
.50-inch driver, swinging him off balance. I don't know where that went. He looked as if he hit it a million miles up in the air. We're lucky we don't have a blimp working this week. Now we need to track that one down. It's gone into orbit. Might have landed by now. So Sandelin's not in good position. Can't shoot at the green. If Seve hits a drive, it's automatic to be shooting at the green. And as I said, what a great finishing hole. Reach for par 5. An eagle a possibility. Bogey's unlikely, but there is plenty of trouble.
What should be the last drive of the Open Canarias. But they could well be back here in a few minutes' time. Playoff down 18 and then 17, 18.
Gallery like it. Yesterday, Seve was anxiously watching a ball, didn't know whether it was out of bounds, and that is right down the middle. Sandelin's ball, we hear, is in the left rough. The way he was looking, it was a little steep on it. That 50-inch driver, difficult to control. We'll see if he's launched it out there far enough that he can get away with hitting out of the rough and still control the shot into the green. Sandelin's used his big driver to good effect so far this week, and certainly yesterday. He bogeyed his second hole, had 7 birdies the rest of the way, including one at the 8th, the long par 3, which he repeated again today. And he was a happy man. Only 3 players under 70 yesterday, so the 66 was a remarkable score. Seve made a good swing back on the 17th tee with his 3-wood. Here's the good shoulder turn, not so much sway off the ball. Just a beautiful swing. Look at that. Club horizontal, pointing to the target. Club head going down the target line, and the full follow through, matching the full backswing, and good balance. That is Jarmo Sandelin's ball, being guarded by one of the Spanish Federation officials helping out the PGA European Tour group of officials.
So it's not all over yet. Sandelin has the advantage by one shot going down the last, but in a bit more trouble than Seve. The view from behind the 18th green at the Maspalomas Golf Club on Gran Canaria. And even with his big driver, Jarmo Sandelin is going to be playing first after his skied tee shot on 18. And he's got a long shot.
He has a very, very long shot. He may even be laying up. Whether he is trying to scamper it on the right side. This time that long driver was a liability. He lost control of it, skied it high and to the left, quite a way behind Seve. And this is going to be really drama. This is tremendous.
He played sensibly then, though, Peter. He had the wood out at one stage, and I think he's played the right shot there, don't you?
It looked as if he was trying to encourage that ball to scamper up. Whether he thought he could run it on the green, he probably did play the right shot because he couldn't carry it onto the green. So just run it up on the right side and leave yourself an open chip or a putt from the fringe. And he hasn't quite got it that far, but he's not in bad shape. And with a man with 4 wedges, he should be able to figure out one of them for this shot. There's not much room behind the pin, just out of the picture there. The green drops away. Back left. Seve aiming
All the people on the left.
Stand still,
a few
please.
yards right. Just drawing it in there. Looks like a 4-iron, maybe a 5. Good long drive here. A little bit of wind helping. Second easiest hole on the course so far this week, behind only the 4th, the short par 5 on the front 9, and 4 eagles only so far this week.
The whole tournament could hang on this shot. Straight at the pin.
Leaning a bit. Seve must have hit that heavy. He didn't have any problem getting the distance. Must have hit it a bit heavy. Had to be trying to carry it onto the green. But there aren't many better bunker players. He's still looking confident. Not quite as dejected as he's been at other times during the last 2.5 rounds. Now this is a real test for Sandelin. That's what's facing Seve. Quite a deep bunker, 3 or 4 feet deep with a good steep face. Not far to the pin.
And I think he put lots of money on him getting up and down from there for a birdie to get to 6 under. Assuming he does, the pressure really is on Sandelin to get a birdie as well for a clean win to avoid going into a playoff.
Well, Seve, this is a chance for his 54th Volvo Tour win, 17 wins elsewhere, including 2 Masters, wins in Japan, New Zealand, Australia, South Africa. Jarmo Sandelin, his most notable win was on the Challenge Tour last year, trying to qualify for the Volvo Tour. So comparing records, you know who's in trouble. But Sandelin's confounded us before, certainly with that chip shot at 15. This is tremendous drama. I love it.
You know, Peter, if the recorder, Trevor Hills, hadn't been alert, Sandelin might not even have been playing today. He signed the wrong card yesterday, playing with Raymond Burns. They signed each other's cards, having checked their own scores, signed for them, and it was only when they handed them in and Trevor Hills noticed that they had the wrong names on the top. Unfortunately, they were able to correct the error before they left the hut, or they would have been disqualified.
Seve lurking on the edge of the green there, not very far off Jarmo Sandelin's line. Going not bad. He certainly couldn't afford to risk running over the green. That would have been horrible, but not as good as he should have done from there. With all those wedges in the bag, I thought he'd nip it up there closer than that. Now we saw Anders Forsbrand making an adjustment, changing clubs to hit his sand shot here. We'll see if this is particularly firm underneath. It means the club's going to bounce through a little quicker than normal, throw the ball out quicker than normal, and go on past the hole. So we'll see if Seve makes the adjustment. When he wiggles his feet a little bit, taking the stance, he'll be trying to judge the consistency of the sand. And he's still taking his time. All day he's been very concerned about the gallery. Now he may even be going to check the grain on the green. Quite important on a shot like this. He's going to get some spin on this shot. If it's into the grain, it will stop very quickly. We've seen players have trouble with short putts on this green all week, so the grain is certainly mixed, and it could be just an additional problem for Seve. Nipped it so well. He nipped that so well. Open stance, upright backswing, slipped the club underneath, and almost did it too well. Didn't have a lot of room to use. Came up short, putting up the hill. Will help him a little bit. Stance. Quick wrist break, cutting across it, face open, club bouncing through the sand, just flowing on through. Another angle. Take the sliver of sand underneath the ball floats out.
as they lie.
He made a putt about this length yesterday for his course record 66. Made a great putt back on 14 to force the issue, to make Seve hold for a birdie. So this is to win, and Seve will have no chance of a playoff. Good solid stroke. It was certainly going to break right to left. And he's marking it. I'm surprised at that. He should have gone ahead and tapped in. And he still has a sense of humor about things anyway. I really think he should have gone ahead and tapped in. If Seve makes this, the crowd go crazy, everybody starts rushing about, and Sandelin will have to still putt out. They'll go out down to some degree, but he had the option to go ahead and putt out. He really should have done that. Seve's been a bit frustrated with the greens, but basically hold out very well. Hardly believe it. I thought Seve would make that. He hit almost too good a bunker shot. And that ball really broke across there. Now Sandelin has to tap in the short one to win. What a victory. Playing with the great champion. He got off to a bad start. He birdied 6, 7 and 8. And then 14 and 15. What a win.
So there is the final situation. Sandelin claiming his first win on the European Tour, beating Seve Ballesteros by a shot. Paul Eales in the end finishing up in second place, tied with Seve, and as Forsbrand back in fourth, 2 off the lead. And then tied fifth, Struve, Clark and Emerson. Paolo Quarici coming in from 37th place to take 8th in the end with a 68 today.
Give it, please.
Well, it's been a spectacular afternoon, the final afternoon of the Turespaña Open Canaria. For the first time this week we've had cloud coming in, and it put a cloud on the face of the Spaniard Seve Ballesteros, who'd led throughout right up until the last few holes of this tournament, when Jarmo Sandelin took the lead on 14 and held it through 18. Paul Eels has done well, tied second. 71 today from Anders Forsbrand to finish at 4 under, despite not feeling particularly well. And Sven Struve from Germany, a 70 today to get in at 3 under. So it's been a wonderful tournament, the Turespaña Open Canarias, won by Jarmo Sandelin from Sweden. And I think we're just about ready for the presentation down on the 18th, where Peter Oosterhuis is.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're live to the United States for the Golf Channel. And I'd like to introduce Mr. Alvaro Blanco of the Turespaña organization to present the prize to Jarmo Sandelin.
Sandelin, in the name of the Spanish Tourist Office, in the name of the Spanish authorities and the name of the authorities of the Canary Islands, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations, Jarmo. You had a great round yesterday, course record 66. You were looking forward to today's round. Obviously playing with Seve was an experience. You were 6 behind him after 4 holes today, but you came back. Congratulations.
Thank you. I really had a bad start, but I was a little bit nervous, you know. Play with Seve is always, I mean, I never played with him before, so, but I knew it was going to be hard. So I really overdid it in the beginning, and after a bad first 4 holes, I really tried to get into myself again and find my own game, and I really find it, and I'm very happy for that. To stand here for a rookie, for me, it's my fourth tournament, and this is great.
Well, we know you won on the Challenge Tour last year, but playing with Seve in the last round of a Volvo Tour event is a very different thing from that. You made 3 good birdies on the front 9, which you caught up a lot of strokes in a hurry on Seve, but then the birdies on 14 and 15 were what really turned things around.
Yeah, it was. I really found my own game, and that was the result. So I never thought. I knew it was going to be very hard all the way into the end, and Seve had a bad hole on the 15th, sorry. And
that's all right. You're entitled to be nervous.
And I had a bad shot too, and I was thinking, oh no, not again. You mean I turned professional 87, and I've been doing quite a lot of mistakes, but this time I really recovered with a good chip in the hole, and that was a fantastic feeling to when I went in the hole.
Well, obviously, starting today's round, you had a lot of gallery here who were rooting for Seve, as all the way around the world they would be. But you turned things around, and thank you very much for being with us, and congratulations again. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. And thanks to all the crowd. I really felt that you were behind all the way. Thank you.
Well, what a fairy tale story. £43,000 for winning the tournament, another £3,000 for the course record. Who would have predicted Jarmo Sandelin from Sweden taking his first tour title on the day that he was playing, starting out 2 behind the great Sevillano Ballesteros. But he's done it. The winner of the Turespaña Open Canarias, Jarmo Sandelin.